They literally spray out blood from their brain through their eyes. Sometimes, if they shoot too much blood, they could put themselves at a severe risk.
In the wild, the traits that give some animals their edge can also become their Achilles heel. Consider the cheetah's incredible speed. This remarkable velocity strains its body, leaving it vulnerable to injuries and exhaustion. Nature's design can be both a blessing and a trap. Come along as we explore the animals that nature has treated unfairly. The bloody laser super-horned lizard. Deep within the heart of the jungle in North America lies one of nature's most astonishing creatures, the super-horned lizard. This unique reptile, native to the southwestern United States, has evolved an extraordinary defense mechanism. It can shoot a stream of blood from its eyes to deter predators. So precise is their aim that these little lizards can scare off wolves, dogs, and coyotes many times their size, blasting them wet in the face. These lizards are not fighters, but runners. They run the moment predators crawl into their space, but they are not so easily frightened because of their faith in their defense mechanism. Their first line of defense mechanism is to camouflage, which doesn't always help to avoid detection. So they move to the next one, which is to stretch and puff themselves to frustrate the predators in swallowing them whole. If that doesn't work, then they switch to their superpower, shooting blood from their eyes. How do they do it? They can contract the muscles around their eyes, cutting off blood flow back to the heart. This would cause the blood to continually flow into the eye area, where it fills the ocular sinuses with blood. The lizard's peculiar strategy is not just a display of evolution's creativity, but also a testament to the extreme lengths animals must go to evade threats. While this may seem like a fascinating adaptation, it affects the lizard physically. Shooting that amount of blood requires a lot of strength and effort. The body will need to dispense a lot of energy, and that alone can weigh the lizard down. If this persists, it might end up losing essential fluids for nutrients. No nutrients, no growth. All that would remain is an old-looking lizard starved and waiting to die. Pretty sure that's why this is considered the last line of defense mechanism for the lizard. Unlike the other defense mechanism, this one affects both him and the predators. Nature, in its relentless pursuit of survival, often bestows creatures with such peculiar traits, reflecting a reality where survival can come at the expense of what we might consider more conventional forms of protection. The electrifying life of the electric eel. When you come to the murky waters of the Amazon and Orinoco River Basin, be careful not to put your feet or hands inside. You might get shocked by their regular inhabitants, the electric eel. Despite its name, the electric eel is not a true eel but a type of knife fish, and it lives up to its moniker with a capability that is nothing short of electrifying. This is when their electric shock abilities come into play during dry seasons. During that season, bodies of water isolate themselves as this causes the water level of the eel's muddy ponds to be low. And it would surprise you to know that it's not oxygen they are at the risk of losing, but their own life. The electric eel breathes air like every other mammal. They do not breathe by passing water over their gills and absorbing the oxygen in them. They are not like other fishes, so they surface most times to breathe about every 10 minutes before diving back in. Because of their distinct characteristics, they live in water bodies that contain very little oxygen. Electric eels, despite living in water, rely on atmospheric oxygen because their respiration system is adapted to supplement their oxygen intake from the air. They have specialized structures called vascularized mouthparts that allow them to gulp air directly from the surface. The ponds are not deep, but are also not too shallow. So with a low level of water as their habitat, they are vulnerable to predators. In this situation, they resort to their most dangerous weapon, electrocytes, which are specialized cells designed to work together to produce electricity. These cells are stacked like batteries within three main organs, such as the main organ, the hunter's organ, and the sacs organ. When the eel needs to deliver a shock, these organs discharge simultaneously, creating a burst of electricity that can last for several seconds. This can be done inside or outside the murky water, but however the effect might feel different. From basic science, Water is a good conductor of electricity, so if a predator is shocked while fully submerged in water, it will feel a less powerful shock than if it was out of the water. Either way, you would be on a safer side if you didn't come into close proximity with it, because whether your body is in the water or not, you are in for the shock of your life. But this incredible power comes with a little twist of irony. The very trait that makes the electric eel such a formidable hunter and defender is also its own doom. The eel uses its electric ability to navigate and hunt in the dark, oxygen-poor waters where it resides. It does this by emitting continuous low-voltage pulses to map its surroundings and detect prey. When it finds a target, it can deliver a high-voltage shock to immobilize it. This technique is so effective that the electric eel can stun and consume fish much larger than itself. However, this electrifying prowess isn't without disadvantage. The electric eel's reliance on electricity for navigation and hunting makes it highly dependent on its electrical systems. When storms or heavy rain comes, the conductivity of the water increases, which can cause the eel's electrical signals to dissipate and become less effective. The conductivity of water influences the electric eel's ability to deliver a shock. Similarly, heavy rain affects this conductivity. Additionally, the very act of discharging electricity, especially in shallow or confined spaces, can cause it to experience electrical feedback or become disoriented. Also, they can accidentally shock themselves and other eels, but this isn't lethal or injurious to them. Why? This is because the eel's large size, arrangement of organs toward the head, and electrical current coming from the tail are the reasons why they can survive their own shocks. The pistol shrimp's shockwave punches. There is a reason why it's called a pistol shrimp. Not because it is shaped like a pistol, but because it acts like a pistol. Meet the explosive talent, the pistol shrimp. It's one of the weird little wonders of the sea that crushes the stereotype of shrimp being little and small. This one is a force to be reckoned with. The pistol shrimp, known scientifically as Alphiidae, wields a powerful adaptation that seems to straddle the line between genius and absurdity. Bubbles produced from its oversized claw. These aren't ordinary bubbles that kids play with. They come with an intense sound louder than a gun and generate massive amounts of heat. When the shrimp snaps its claw shut, it generates a cavitation bubble, a rapid collapse of low-pressure voids in the water that creates a shockwave. This shockwave is powerful enough to stun or even kill small fish and invertebrates, making it a formidable predator. The force of the snap is so intense that it produces a sound exceeding 200 decibels, louder than a jet engine and almost as loud as underwater dynamite. This deafening sound serves multiple purposes. It stuns prey, acts as a defensive mechanism, and even helps the shrimp communicate with its kind. Pistol shrimp shoot these deadly bubbles to kill prey, and jackhammer into rock for the purpose of creating burrows. You don't want to mess with this shrimp. A little part of your arm could go off if it is in close range with the bubbles. It was said that they almost interfered with World War II. In the 1940s, the snap, crackle, pop sound began interfering with sonar used in detecting enemy ships. This made sailors to bring researchers from the University of California Division of War Research to run some tests. Eventually, they discovered that the shrimp were the cause and began recording the sonar operators to recognize the shrimp's shockwave bubbles as just sounds rather than enemy explosions. They even gained popularity in the entertainment industry as Netflix did a movie using their abilities as a superpower. In the film known as Project Power, the director Jamie Foxx adapted the features of the pistol shrimp's abilities as a superpower. These little shrimp abilities are fascinating and a marvel to all. But like all abilities, this one comes with a price. The cavitation bubble created during the snap also generates a brief but intense burst of heat, enough to momentarily rival the surface of the sun. This immense heat can be detrimental to the shrimp's own habitat, causing localized damage to nearby marine life or even disturbing the delicate balance of its environment. Moreover, the pistol shrimp's reliance on its specialized claw for both predation and defense can also be a source of vulnerability. The shrimp's intense claw activity makes it prone to physical wear and tear. Overuse or damage to the claw can impair its ability to produce the explosive snaps, leaving it less effective at hunting or defending itself. The tusk of the Babirusa pig. Imagine growing a tusk that curves back into your forehead. That's the life of a Babirusa pig. The tusks of the male Babirusa pig can be deadly even to itself. With a growth of more than 1 foot long, the tusks are fond of curving back to the pig's face. The Babirusa pig is found in the Indonesian islands of Sulawesi, Togian, Sula, and Buru. Their preferred habitats are rainforest and wetlands, and they diet mostly on fruits, plants, and small animals. Every Babirusa pig possesses tusks, but they differ among male and females. For instance, the female and male have lower canine tusks, and only male have upper canine tusks. Just as deer antlers grow on only male, so do the tusks which they use to attract females during mating season. But here's the suspenseful twist. These tusks aren't just for show. They're a weapon in the high-stakes game of survival. Imagine a battle where a Babirusa must navigate the jungle, its odd tusks glinting in the sunlight, while dodging predators and rivals. The tension mounts as these unusual tusks, while impressive, can sometimes turn into a precarious problem, like a knight wielding a sword that might just slice through their own armor. As the Babirusa navigates this wild world, every step is a precarious dance between elegance, danger, suspense, and survival. The downside is the inevitable fate of the Babirusa being killed by its own tusk. As it gets older, the tusks curls deep into its forehead and pierces the skull. Sadly, the Babirusa meets its fate. While nature's design may seem whimsical or even unfair, it's all part of the dramatic, unpredictable play that is the struggle for existence. One fascinating fact of the Babirusa pig is its relation to prehistoric existence. Many have speculated they existed 35,000 years ago, based on the drawings found on the wall of caves. Whether it is true or not, the main concern is making sure that these pigs avoid getting killed by their own tusks. This is why conservation efforts by environmental agencies are implemented in raising these pigs, where humans can watch over them and prevent their tusks from curling inwards. The fainting goat. Goats are stubborn, scary-looking with odd eyes and smell funny. But goats do not faint. They either run away from you or run towards you, right? Well, this one does faint. The fainting goat, also known as the myotonic goat, is nature's own peculiar comedian, embodying a curious blend of vulnerability and charm. Native to the United States, this breed is infamous for its unique response to surprise or stress. A little sound you make or reaction can cause these goats to experience a temporary paralysis of their muscles, causing them to collapse dramatically and, quite literally, faint. When the muscles are voluntarily contracted, such as in the act of running away from the potential threat, the relaxation of the muscles can be delayed. This renders the muscles rigid, causing immobility to the goat. This unusual trait, known as myotonia, results from a genetic mutation. In 1930, geneticist J.L. Lush documented in his study that the goats almost look and feel as though they can be pushed over like a piece of wood. Their muscle stiffens to that point. Fortunately for the goat, it doesn't last long, only about 5 to 20 seconds. It doesn't also cause harm to the goat except if they stiffen and fall from a certain height. Such a fragile creature. They are the kind of goat that needs overprotective care and watch. It would take a dedicated farmer who is loving and patient to care for them. Also one that finds their theatrics amusing. And while it might seem like a party trick designed for amusement, it underscores a more somber reality. The fainting goat's condition is a direct consequence of selective breeding, a process where nature and human intervention collide in ways that often seem unfair. The goats are bred for their unique response, which, although entertaining, also leaves them unusually susceptible to injury and stress. It's kind of like farmers deliberately picking goats that faint more often to produce more goats with this behavior. By doing this, they enhance the fainting trait and create species who are victims of the downsides of their fainting abilities. Frequent fainting can cause stress to the goat, especially if done more often. It can also limit the goat's ability to perform certain activities. For example, if the goat is required for activities that require a lot of movement and agility, fainting can limit their movement and agility. Now, it's time for today's subscriber's pick. Check out this amazing picture where two animals meet their end in an uncomfortable way. First up, we have an antelope carcass caught in an incredibly tight spot. Pressed in a thin hole dividing a rock, this elegant creature is wedged between, unable to move. The carcass was found in an African desert. Not much is known about how it got stuck, but it can be assumed that perhaps the deer thought it could pass through the narrow opening and got stuck in the process. Or maybe it was passing on one side and mistakenly missed its step, trying to cross to the other side of the rock, causing it to be stuck for life. In the other picture, they found a dog stuck in a tree trunk. It was the 80s when contractors found a dog known as Stucky deep inside the trunk of a chestnut tree. They discovered it when they cut the tree, and it was about 28 feet deep. Ever since that time, Stucky was kept in a museum in Waycross, Georgia for sightseeing. So what do you think? Is this picture real or fake? Share your thoughts in the comments section. The glass frog transparent predicament. Ever wondered what it's like to peek inside a frog's body? Well, for most frogs, you could use X-ray to see the bones, while there are frogs that are X-ray themselves. In the lush rainforest of Central and South America, a creature of remarkable and somewhat ironic design resides: the glass frog. Its name, derived from the transparent nature of its underbelly, reflects an adaptation that is as fascinating as it is fraught with paradox. With a belly so clear one could mistake it for a frog-shaped window. These critters give new meaning to the word window to the soul, or in this case, stomach, guts, intestines, and lungs. This transparency is achieved through the presence of specialized cells called chromatophores. They control the pigmentation and light reflection. This adaptation serves multiple purposes, such as camouflage by blending the frog into its environment, and thermoregulation, which permits the absorption and dissipation of heat. Yet, this transparency, while visually intriguing, comes with demerits. The very trait that provides camouflage and physiological benefits also makes the glass frog's internal organs more visible to predators. In an environment where every advantage can mean the difference between life and death, the glass frog's transparent belly is a liability. The frog's vulnerability is compounded by the fact that its internal organs are not only visible, but also relatively unprotected compared to those of other amphibians. They do not have abdominal muscles. Also, the glass frog's reproductive strategy further underscores the peculiar nature of its adaptation. During the breeding season, female glass frogs lay their eggs on the underside of leaves above water. The male frogs guard these eggs, which are also translucent, making them visible to both predators and opportunistic prey. They use the trick of camouflage to confuse predators. The spotted patterns at the back of the glass frog resembles a mass of eggs, which deceives the predators in going after them, and not the real eggs. The visibility of both eggs and developing tadpoles introduces an additional layer of risk, as the eggs can be easily spotted and eaten by various predators before they have a chance to hatch. The glass frog's transparent skin also presents challenges during its own defense mechanisms. While it may help the frog avoid some predators through camouflage, it can also be a hindrance if predators see through the disguise. Additionally, the transparency makes the frog more susceptible to environmental threats, such as pollution and habitat destruction, as it relies heavily on a delicate balance within its habitat. Furthermore, the glass frog's transparency affects its interaction with its environment. The need to maintain a specific level of camouflage and thermal regulation forces the frog to inhabit very particular niches within the rainforest. The specialized habitat requirements mean that any changes in environmental conditions, such as deforestation or climate change, can disproportionately impact the glass frog, making its survival increasingly precarious. In essence, the glass frog's life is a striking example of nature's sometimes ironic fairness. The glass frog is a see-through visible prey to predators. The thorny devil spikes hindrance. Sometimes the defense mechanism of an animal can be its own burden, especially when it comes to the small creatures. Meet the thorny devil. Found in the arid landscapes of Australia, the thorny devil is a creature draped in an armor of thorns and spines roaming the desert. This lizard, also known as Moloch horridus, is a marvel of evolutionary design, boasting a suite of bizarre adaptations that are both ingenious and ironically cumbersome. The thorny devil's remarkable defenses and survival strategies highlight an intriguing paradox in nature's evolutionary toolkit. The thorny devil's most striking feature is its elaborate, spiny exterior. Covered in conical, horn-like spines, this lizard looks like a living fortress. These spines are not just for show. They serve multiple defensive purposes. They create an intimidating appearance that deters potential predators and provide a formidable barrier against physical attacks. The spines are quite strong, being able to withstand forces of about 400 pounds. If a predator tries to bite it, the spine can injure or cause discomfort. The lizard's body is also equipped with a false head on the back of its neck, which it presents to threats while tucking its real head beneath its body. This clever deception is designed to mislead predators into attacking a less vital part of the lizard. Despite these impressive defenses, the thorny devil's spiny armor comes with several ironic and challenging drawbacks. The very spines that offer protection can also make movement cumbersome and slow. In a habitat where speed and agility are often crucial for escaping danger, the thorny devil's armor can be a significant disadvantage. Its heavy, spiny body can make it less agile and more vulnerable to predators that can overcome its defenses, so the spines slow them down long enough to be eaten by predators with enough strong bite force. The thorny devil's specialized diet further complicates its existence. It primarily feeds on ants, which it gathers using its specialized tongue. The lizard's diet is incredibly specific, requiring it to consume vast numbers of ants daily to meet its nutritional needs. This reliance on a single food source means that any fluctuation in ant populations due to environmental changes or habitat disruption can have a severe impact on the thorny devil's survival. Moreover, the thorny devil's adaptation for water conservation presents its own set of challenges. In its arid environment, the lizard has evolved the ability to collect and channel rainwater through grooves in its skin to its mouth. While this adaptation is ingenious, it also means that the thorny devil is highly dependent on infrequent rainfalls. Extended periods of drought or changes in rainfall patterns can severely impact its ability to hydrate and thrive. The thorny devil's spiny exterior also makes it a target for human interference. Its unique and striking appearance has made it a popular species for exotic pet enthusiasts and collectors. This demand places additional pressure on its population and can lead to habitat disruption and exploitation. Thorny devils are solitary creatures or prefer to spend most of their time foraging for food in harsh, hot environments. So it would seem off course if they were taken by humans as pet and lab rats. They prefer to be left alone. In essence, the thorny devil's existence is a compelling example of nature's paradoxes. Its spiny armor and specialized adaptations are designed to offer protection and survival advantages, but come with their own set of ironic challenges. The very traits that are meant to safeguard the thorny devil can also create vulnerabilities and hardships, showcasing the complex and often unfair realities of evolutionary design. If only they could be free of those spines. The male seahorse's pregnancy paradox. Bet you never knew male seahorse get pregnant. The male seahorse, also known as hippocampus, plays a unique reproductive role in the sea's ecosystem, becoming pregnant and giving birth. While this adaptation is a marvel of nature, it also highlights a paradox that makes the male seahorse's life as complicated as it is extraordinary. In the world of viviparous and oviparous animals, the female plays the role of birthing, so it becomes a wonder and mystery when studying the reproductive cycle of seahorses. Let's take a quick look. During mating, the female seahorse transfers her eggs into a specialized brood pouch located on the male's abdomen. This pouch functions much like a placenta, where the male fertilizes the eggs internally. Over the course of several weeks, the eggs develop within the safety of the pouch, which provides oxygen and nutrients, while also removing waste products. Once the eggs have fully developed, the male seahorse undergoes labor and expels the fully formed baby seahorses into the water. This extraordinary adaptation allows for a high level of parental investment from the male, and it also introduces several ironic and challenging aspects. The male seahorse's brood pouch, while crucial for incubating eggs, can also be a source of vulnerability. The pouch is highly sensitive, and can be easily damaged during aggressive encounters with other males or while navigating through dense vegetation. Any injury to the pouch can jeopardize the developing embryos and reduce reproductive success. So the faith of having children rests on daddy not losing his temper and fighting. Furthermore, the process of giving birth is physically taxing for the male seahorse. During labor, the male must expel dozens to hundreds of tiny, fully formed seahorses into the water, a process that can take several hours. This demanding task leaves the male exhausted and temporarily less agile, making him more susceptible to predators and environmental hazards during and immediately after birth. Finally, the male can relate to the pains of pregnancy labor. The unique reproductive role of the male seahorse also creates a situation where the survival of the species is heavily dependent on the health and viability of the male. Any issues with the brood pouch or complications during birth can have a significant impact on reproductive success and overall population health. The high level of parental investment required from the male seahorse places a disproportionate burden on him compared to other species where both parents share the responsibilities more equally. Additionally, the male seahorse's role in pregnancy and childbirth can lead to an unusual dynamic in the seahorse population. The need for males to protect their brood pouches and ensure successful births can make them more aggressive and territorial, which can lead to increased competition and conflict among males. This competition for mates and the stress associated with childbirth can affect the overall health and well-being of the male seahorse. In summary, the life of the male seahorse is a striking example of nature's paradoxes. While its role in pregnancy is a fascinating adaptation that provides a unique evolutionary advantage, it shows how burdensome it is to be a pregnant daddy and leader of a seahorse herd. The flightless kakapo parrot. The flightless kakapo parrot is the freak of the parrot species, native to the wilderness of New Zealand. This parrot is unlike any other due to nature's design and ecological niches. The majority of parrots are strong flyers, using their wings for navigation, foraging, and escaping predators. However, the kakapo is different. It is a flightless bird with mossy green feathers and owl-like eyes. Evolution gifted it with wings that are good for nothing except aesthetics. Even with these features, the kakapo has learned to survive for a long time. Don't feel too bad for it. It is not completely vulnerable. The kakapo happens to be a master of camouflage. His exquisite feathers and nocturnal lifestyle makes it suitable for evading predators. So the camouflage accounts for the wing's failure. This odd nature of the kakapo is its downside, especially where keen-eye predators such as stoats, cats, and rats exist. The bird's flightless wings, crafted as its escape device, now work against it. This is why they are prey most of the time. Predators seek them out and hunt them. Their keen eyesight and abilities gives them an edge over the kakapo. As the struggle for survival continues, the kakapo is likely to go extinct. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.